This one I'm not sure about. Vaseline.
Oh, Vaseline.
I guess that one works because I wouldn't say, get me the petroleum jelly.
Yes. Please no. Please don't say.
Don't say that.
No, please don't say that.
It's grosser.
Yeah, it's like the word moist. It's like,
But Vaseline,
yeah,
I think has cornered the petroleum jelly market.
they dominate.
Okay. Someday, I'm going to be big enough that someone else monitors me. Oh no, I forgot my emotional support. The real fan of the show.
Yes.
This is,
He needs a face. Like we should draw in Sharpie. We should draw him a face.
I feel like this
Is
chair.
it a he or a she?
Non-binary.
Non-binary. Okay. It identifies as a lint roller.
Oh, I wonder if. Okay, so today we're talking about brand names, and I'm wondering if lint roller is a brand name.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
That's a good question.
Anna's back with me today.
Hi. I'm so happy to be here with
I'm
you.
happy you're here too. You look so cute today.
Thank you so much.
On the past few podcasts, this is what I hate about monitoring myself. The past few podcasts, because I don't know what I look like in the thing, I just hit record. And then I get the footage back and I'm like, okay, I was sitting like a lunatic the whole time.
You look nice. And I'm loving the loafers too. Like
Thank you. These were a Paris find.
Nice.
A quick story on this, because I could just go on with stories forever, is I went to one shop where this French man was just like very intense, looking to make a sale. And he was like, they are on sale from $99 to like $59, and just like very, very pushy salesman. And I was just like, I don't want them. And he went from being like the switch of like very nice to like, as soon as he realized I wasn't going to spend money, he got very mean. And so then I went to like 2 stores down, literally same exact shoe, exact same brand, everything. A very nice older man who this was his shop. It had been his shop for 80 years. It was very obvious. He had the same shoes, $20.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, I would way rather give, his name was Jean-Paul.
Oh.
I would way rather give you, Jean-Paul, old man, my money, especially $20, than that mean guy who was being fake nice to me.
There's nothing I hate more than pushy salespeople.
Especially when they're being phony and fake.
Yeah,
it's
like just terrible.
I was glad. I'm like, I'm not going to spend my money with you simply because you're bullying me.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially now.
It really, you're accomplishing the opposite of what you want to accomplish when you're acting that way.
Mm-hmm. We were just talking before the cameras were on. I need to check the time anyway. I didn't turn the light on the top of the stairs. Okay, squirrel brain. Before the camera started running, about how we're going to do an episode coming soon about fashion in the workplace. You guys like that idea? Leave it in the comments.
Yes,
Anna's
comment
coming
down
back
below.
Anna's coming back for that.
Yes.
So, but today we're talking about, we had this kind of like random idea about talking about the psychology of brand names. Mm-hmm. And brand loyalty and brand dominance. And this is something I've thought about for a long time. And I think that there's times that I haven't realized, and maybe you guys don't realize this either, that we call certain brand items names even when they're not. For instance, Band-Aid.
Yep.
Q-tip.
I need a Band-Aid.
But you don't actually need the brand of Band-Aid. But you're calling it a Band-Aid. And, like, why do we do that?
I find that super interesting because it's like you do it without even realizing it. Mm-hmm. It's just like this subconscious?
Yeah.
Unconscious? Subconscious.
It's in the conscious.
It's in your consciousness somewhere that's what it's called,
right.
Even though it's not necessarily what it's called.
Right.
Like I was just saying about the lint roller, I said let's use a Sharpie and draw a face on it. Like a permanent marker is also a Sharpie.
Right. And one of the things when we were researching this is because it's a shortcut, right? Mm-hmm. Saying a permanent marker. We know when you say the word Sharpie, we know that what you mean permanent marker, but also it signals to us a quality permanent marker.
Yeah. It's
Isn't
true.
that
I never
interesting?
buy like generic Sharpies. I always buy Sharpies.
Sharpies. So it's kind of like Sharpies cornered the market on quality when it comes to permanent markers.
True. Very true.
And so, like, how did they get to that place? How did Saran wrap get to? Because I never, when I'm pulling out my plastic wrap, I call it Saran wrap, even if I haven't bought Saran wrap.
Yeah, and that's actually a good, because you were asking me earlier what brands I will never buy the generic of, and that's one is like
Saran wrap.
Yeah, what is it, Glide or whatever?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Is it Glade? It's not Glade.
No. Anyway, I never buy like the store brand of plastic wrap because it's terrible.
It's annoying.
It doesn't work. It doesn't tear off the thing right. It doesn't stick right. So that's an excellent example for me of, because like I'll buy the generic of almost anything, but for that I won't because it works the best. So to me, I associate it with quality.
Yeah,
for sure.
So let's go first down my list of items that. So first of all, let's define what this is called, because I didn't know this word. This phenomenon is called genericide. When it's a trademark becomes so common it's no longer legally protected, when a brand name becomes a default word for a product. So let's talk about some of these genericide words that I was able to find. And some of them are like, oh, for sure. And some of them are like, oh, really? I don't know. So one of them is a Kleenex.
Yep.
Like, and I generally say tissue more than Kleenex, but sometimes people say, can you get me a Kleenex?
Yeah, and we know exactly what they mean.
Yep. Q-tips.
Yeah, definitely.
Ziploc. That
100%.
definitely. Can I have a Ziploc bag?
Yeah.
Even if it's not Ziploc brand. Tupperware.
Tupperware, yeah.
For
I always say
sure.
Tupperware.
I need Tupperware. Saran wrap. Windex.
That actually is something that, like, I don't like buying the generic of.
Really?
Is Windex. I always buy actual Windex.
Yep. But you say,
I always
everyone
call
says
it
Windex, not, can you get me the glass cleaner?
Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't.
No.
It's a shortcut, but Lysol.
Oh. I wouldn't have thought of that one.
But you wouldn't say, can you get me the disinfectant
spray?
The disinfecting wipes. Get the Lysol wipes.
Or like Clorox wipes. I always say Clorox wipes.
Yes, or Clorox wipes, yeah. This one I'm not sure about. Vaseline.
Oh, Vaseline.
But I wouldn't say, I guess that one works because I wouldn't say, get me the petroleum jelly.
Yes. Please no. Please don't say.
Don't say that.
No, please don't say that.
It's grosser.
It's like the word moist. It's like,
But Vaseline, I think has cornered the petroleum jelly market.
They dominate.
But I don't think I need to get the brand name of it.
No, definitely not.
Isn't that interesting
it's
too?
So interesting.
But I call it Vaseline.
Yeah.
Yep. Post-it notes. Post-its.
Post-it notes.
I don't call them sticky notes.
I go back and forth. Post-it or sticky
Like,
notes.
do you have a Post-it note? Do you have a sticky note? I guess maybe that one is a little bit 75-25 for me.
Yeah, it kind of goes back and forth, but that is a good example.
Yep. Scotch tape.
Definitely. I always call it Scotch tape.
Mm-hmm.
Because what else would you call it? Clear tape?
Clear adhesive tape.
Clear adhesive tape.
I guess just tape.
Yeah,
but then you have to specify. What do you want? Duct tape?
Yeah.
Duct tape is another good one.
Duct tape or like...
And I don't think that was on my list.
No, that's a good one. Yeah. Because that's another one where the brand of duct tape works way better than fake duct tape.
Yes. I don't even know. Yeah. Like generic
duct tape.
Yeah. This one's for the older crowd. Xerox.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever called it
a photocopy.
I just say let's make. I need a copy of this.
Yeah.
I've never say I need a Xerox. Of
100 years ago, we used to say, "Can you Xerox this?"
When my mother was working in the office of my dad's trucking company, I'm sure she probably had a Xerox machine and would Xerox things. But yeah, not so much anymore. I don't think.
There's more on Xerox legal stuff that we're going to talk about later. Whiteout.
Oh, Oh, I never would have thought of that one.
I didn't even know that was a brand name.
I didn't know that was a brand name. That's not.
I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because
it's not like Elmer.
It's correction fluid. Also hate that.
Oh, that's way worse. That's up there with petroleum jelly.
I think it's worse. Correction fluid.
No.
Originally, it's called liquid paper.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay.
This one I don't know. Binder clip. I don't know what I call a binder clip. This is that like the question.
Plastic thing with the metal?
Yep, strap things that come back. Yep.
Yes.
Often called an ACO clip.
I thought they were called an alligator clip. Is that not what they're called?
ACO clip, ACO clip, ACCO clip.
I don't know.
I guess it's a binder clip. Band-Aid we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Chapstick.
Yeah, that's a big one. I think a lot of people call any type of lip balm Chapstick.
On the fence about this one, Pampers. I feel like I just call them diapers.
Yeah. As women who don't have kids, I think we are not the authorities on this subject. We'll have to ask Deb or
I raised a lot of babies, but I feel like I always just called them diapers, not a Pampers. But anyway, thermos.
Yes, I do always call it a thermos.
Yeah.
Regardless
any
of the
kind
brand.
of vacuum insulated bottle is a thermos, even if it's not a thermos. EpiPen, I guess any kind of epinephrine pen you would call an EpiPen, even if it's not EpiPen brand.
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that one either. Because, that's something that I'm sure there's tons of different generic versions
but you'd call it that. You'd call it an EpiPen. It is an EpiPen, yeah. Coke. Now, this is interesting because this is something, especially culturally, people will say, I want to get a Coke, even if they just want a Sprite.
So this I really wanted to ask you about because when I was talking about this with Aaron yesterday, he's like, who calls Sprite Coke? I'm like, I don't know. Apparently someone in Kristy's life will call a Sprite a Coke.
It's a Southern thing, I think.
I mean, I've heard people use Coke for like any type of dark cola. Like, I want a Coke. They didn't have Coke. I got you this. But like, it's
Can
to
you
you,
turn
it's a
your
Coke.
mic just a little bit? So I want to make sure it stays in front of your face. There you go.
Better?
Yep.
Okay. So anyway, I'm curious the story. Do you have like a story behind?
It's
like,
not
people calling all types of sodas Coke?
No, it's not. And I am from the North. It's what I've learned is it's a Southern thing, or it can be a Southern. Correct us in the comments, especially if you're from the South.
Let me know.
That people will refer to, can I have a Coke, when they just mean that they want a soda or a pop.
Yeah. Huh, interesting.
And so Coke, the name Coke has just kind of capitalized on soda.
Yeah.
It's not a New England thing for sure.
Yeah. And I was raised in South Carolina and then Florida, and I don't remember anyone ever saying like Coke for every type of soda. But I definitely remember as a kid people saying I want a Coke when they want, like, it's Pepsi, but whatever dark cola, whatever was Coke. Like, because we had like RC Cola and all these other
Tab. Do you remember Tab?
Tab. All these other like generic brands of cola that were not Coca-Cola, but we would just call it Coke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's cornered the market on the dark sodas anyway.
Yes.
Well, I would like some outside input on that then. Like, are you calling soda Coke? Are you from another area that does that?
Yeah, I would be curious to know like what states that's common in, or maybe it was just not. I had a very small circle, so
or maybe this is misinformation.
I don't know.
Maybe this is just total misinformation.
Fake news.
I listened to the Free Dive podcast and I was misinformed about soda.
Don't fact check us.
In this case, I do want you to fact check us.
Yes.
Okay. Popsicle.
Yes. for sure. Always call it a popsicle.
All frozen juice pops are popsicles.
Frozen juice pops
are popsicles.
Yeah, it's just all a popsicle.
Yeah. Jell-O.
Even if it comes in that cardboard toilet paper roll. You remember?
Oh my gosh.
You remember the push-up orange
those
popsicles?
Are like, yeah. Oh my gosh, I want one now.
I know, me too. But yeah, it's basically a toilet paper roll with
toilet paper ice cream. I love toilet paper ice cream. What are those things?
Only in America will we put food inside a toilet paper rolls.
Oh my gosh, I loved those.
Yeah, me too. Those
actually
were like the best. They were like Flintstone themed, I think.
I need to look now. I loved the. How do I even look this up? Toilet paper ice cream.
Okay, so they were also called push pops.
Push pops. That's what it is. Push pops.
But I still just called it a popsicle. Like all types of any frozen treat was a popsicle.
A push pop is the candy.
Was it not a push pop?
No, remember push pops are like the candy ones that were hard.
Oh yeah.
I want push pop like ice cream. No, not an icy.
Push
up. They're push ups.
Push up.
They're called push ups.
Push ups. Oh my word.
Yeah, and there's a Flintstone one. You're right.
Okay, yeah, that's in my head. I was picturing an orange,
and they have like a cap on them, and you take the cap off.
Yep,
guys.
The product itself was orange colored and flavored, and I remember it having Flintstones on it.
Guys, these were in the 90s. Amazing.
Oh my word.
Rugrats.
Oh goodness. We need to find those.
I hope that they exist somewhere. Yeah.
On a nostalgic side note.
Yeah.
Did you see that Igloo? I think this also kind of goes with this conversation because Igloo coolers were like, all coolers were an Igloo at one point, for me anyway. But did you see that Igloo is bringing back like the retro coolers with like the retro colors?
Maybe.
The like plastic.
Yeah.
You'd push the button and the top would come down, and then you get that satisfying click when you put it back up.
Yes.
But they're coming back with like the 80s themed,
amazing,
like, nostalgic colors and stuff of the Igloo coolers.
They're very like neon, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So just to date us a little more. All the Gen Zers are going to
Born
be like,
in the 80s.
What's an Igloo? Isn't that like something that people live in?
What was I going to say? Oh, the popsicles that I like are the, what are they called? They're like they're in clear bags. Are they freeze pops?
Freeze pops.
Yeah.
Like
and you have to keep pushing them up.
The ones that cut the side of your mouth?
Yeah, they cut you. They're really dangerous.
They are.
And they just hurt. But you just keep pushing.
But you do it anyway?
You keep pushing them up and suck them out of the bag. It's not a really enjoyable user experience, but they're good.
You know what's funny is I see now on Instagram and other places like TV commercials that they're using that same type of packaging for cat treats. Have you seen this?
My cat has had them. Yeah.
I'm like, what? How did this go from a human thing to a cat thing? But
it's very irritating to feed your cat with them. I'll tell you that.
It looks like it would be super messy.
It is, but the cats love them.
Nosco, create better packaging.
Yeah, Nosco.
For cat treats than the squeeze pop things.
Sucky things for humans for popsicles and for our cats for treats. Get on it.
Yeah, work on that one.
Get on it,
please. Sorry, I derailed you.
No, it's okay. I feel like I put this list in here twice, but it's the same. Okay, so we just talked? Okay, Jell-O.
Oh, Jell-O. That's a good one.
Any flavored gelatin.
Yep.
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip. Yeah, I feel like any kind of whipped topping we call Cool Whip.
Yeah, we definitely don't call it whipped topping.
Tater tots.
Oh, tater tots.
They're all like or Ida is who coined that. Any kind of tater tot is a tater tot.
Yeah, I mean, what else would you call it? It's a potato nugget.
Potato nuggets. They're tater tots.
I know. It's a tot.
Cheese Whiz. Processed cheese spread.
That reminds me. So I didn't grow up with Cheese Whiz. Like, I know what it is, but my mom would never buy that kind of thing.
Your mom loved you.
She did. We didn't grow up with boxed macaroni and cheese or Cheese
really?
Whiz. Like, the first time I ever had boxed mac and cheese was at a friend's house, and her mom made it for dinner, and I was like, what is this synthetic neon orange gloriousness that is boxed mac and cheese? So it was like, at my friend's house, I ate terrible. Like, I ate Kraft and Sunny D.
Yes.
And like bagels. And then I'd come home and my mom would feed us healthy. But anyway, what I was thinking of when you said the Cheese Whiz is the Parmesan cheese in
shaky.
I always call it shaky cheese.
Shaky. I call it shaky cheese too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
we were watching a cooking show the other night and the chef grabbed that and I'm like, why would you grab the shaky cheese? Like, there's real cheese right there.
Shred your own shaky cheese. Anyone else call it shaky cheese?
Yeah, is it shaky cheese
It is.
or is it Kraft?
That is
I
funny.
think Kraft makes that. It's like the brand is Kraft.
Isn't that funny that like we universally call total side point? There's this game that I play and it's called Wingspan. Wingspan lovers out there, but it's a game about birds, and so in my family we call it bird game.
Oh, bird game.
And I have learned through the internet. I thought that was our cute little inside family thing that we just call it bird game, and when it's really called Wingspan. The people of the internet all also call it bird game.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, that's so cute that we all separately on the planet are all calling it bird game too.
I love it.
And so it's this shaky cheese thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we're in our separate houses all calling it
I
shaky
know.
cheese. It just naturally comes as shaky cheese and bird game.
Yeah, the psychology of that
Isn't
is
it funny?
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So they named it wrong, I guess, from the start.
Yeah.
Parmesan cheese,
It should
lame.
just be shaky cheese.
Wingspan,
Get on it, Kraft.
Wingspan, lame. It was bird game from the start. Ask the people what they want. They're just going to rename it anyway. Nutella, often used to mean any chocolate. I was going to say hazmat. Hazelnut spread. Can't read today. Okay, Google. This is interesting
Okay.
because you say, to Google that.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't always mean on Google.
Yeah, it could be any search engine.
It could be any search engine.
But yeah, we never say, I'm going to go Bing that.
I don't know who's binging it
I know,
anyway. But I guess if you're still asking Jeeves
yeah,
if he exists still. But any search engine, yeah.
That's so true.
You're Googling
and I'm
it.
sure this is an insult to Bill Gates because he invented Internet Explorer, but no one says,
right.
I'm going to look that up on Internet Explorer or I'm going to look that up on Edge.
If you're on Firefox.
You just say Google it, look it
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
Yeah, that's absolutely
Google's
true.
cornered the market
They
on that
really
one.
have.
To Photoshop is to edit an image, but you're not necessarily using the Photoshop program.
Mm-hmm.
You know that just means to be editing.
Yeah.
Photoshop.
Yeah,
that.
I wouldn't have thought of that one for sure.
Zoom. This is a new one. For any video call.
Oh,
Do you want to Zoom? Even if we're not necessarily using Zoom, we might be on Meet or Teams or whatever. That one's sneaking in there. Zoom is really using the...
I can see them dominating that.
Yeah.
That would make sense. For me, it's we either Zoom or FaceTime.
FaceTime is, yeah.
So for me, it's in my head, I'm like,
On
do
the
you want to Zoom or
phone.
do you want to FaceTime?
Yeah, phone feels like FaceTime.
Yeah.
Zoom feels like computer.
Exactly.
Desktop. Yeah. iPad, meaning any tablet.
Yep. I definitely am guilty of that. I
Yeah.
never say tablet. I always call it an iPad when it's not an iPad.
Yeah. Fitbit, you generically for fitness trackers.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that one's a little bit more askew for me. GoPro for any action camera.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
I feel like I might not use that one as liberally because I wouldn't necessarily assume someone's using a GoPro, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's just not something that I probably because I don't have one. I don't think about it.
Yeah. But they've kind of cornered the action camera market. Legos for building blocks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You don't necessarily care if they're generic. You're just like, those are Legos.
Oh, Aaron has so many fake Legos from Wish.
Oh, really?
Yes. He has the Mandalorian spaceship.
And do they work as good?
No. That is the case. Like
they're not as clicky.
No, they're not as strong as actual Legos. They fall apart super easy, but they are significantly cheaper.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Play-Doh.
Oh yeah. Wasn't that initially invented for something else?
It says it's a modeling compound.
I feel like I could be making this up in my head, but I feel like Play-Doh was originally invented for another purpose, and then it became Play-Doh. I'll have to research that.
Let's look into that. Yo-yo, which is a brand name, but every yo-yo is a yo-yo.
Yeah, what else would you call it?
It doesn't even say.
Finger string.
It's a yo-yo.
I know. What else? There's nothing else to call that.
Even my list doesn't say. It just says originally a brand.
Huh. That's super interesting. Because I have no idea what else you would call
String disc toy. String.
Up and down finger string.
Circle toy. Yeah, it's a yo-yo. They're all yo-yos. Frisbee.
Oh, I thought of that one yesterday and then I forgot. Yeah.
Hula hoop.
Hula hoop.
Which was a Whammo brand name.
Oh.
So, but every hula hoop's a hula hoop.
Yeah, it's a hula hoop.
But they're not all hula hoop brand names.
Interesting.
So, these ones are vehicles. Jet ski, which is a personal watercraft, but that is a brand name from the Kawasaki brand.
Okay, yep.
Which I never knew that one. I didn't know jet ski was a brand.
It didn't occur to me until you just said it, but yeah, there's like all these other different brands of, because isn't Wave Runner a brand?
I just thought that they were all, I thought that was the vehicle type, the way a car is a car.
Yeah, exactly.
A jet ski is a jet ski. Form of vehicle, not like that it's a Honda or a, you know what I mean? I thought it was just, that's what the vehicle was referred to.
Me too.
But no, it's a brand. It's a personal watercraft.
Oh, personal watercraft.
Personal watercraft. Rollerblade. Didn't know that one either.
I didn't know that was a brand.
They're inline skates. Okay.
As a quad girl, I'm very offended.
No. I'm like, no one's calling them inline skates.
No.
They're calling them rollerblades.
Yeah.
Segway. Because no one's calling them self-balancing scooters.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
They're Segways.
Segway.
Crocs.
Interesting.
Any kind of foam clog.
Yeah. That's cool. I never would have thought of that one.
And I guess that's fair because if I had an off-brand croc, I guess I would still refer to it as a croc.
Yeah, because what else are you going to call it? A ugly rubber shoe?
These are my ugly rubber shoes.
These are my ugly rubber shoes.
These are my foam clogs.
These are my rubber shoes with holes in them, so they're a safety hazard to wear at the hospital. But all nurses wear them at the hospital.
Do you have any Crocs?
I used to.
Okay.
I used to have them, but I didn't like the traditional style of Crocs.
Yeah.
I would only buy. Back in the day, they had this like Mary Jane shaped one, and then I had these ones that were they were basically like water shoes.
I should have worn mine today. I have Croc sandals, which I come from a Croc family, a long line of Croc people. and I never got it. I was always just like, but they say when you become a Croc person, you never go back. And I was just like, I'm a little scared to tread into this field. But I tried some on at TJ Maxx because they were pink, for one thing. And they weren't the traditional ugly Croc style. They're like two strappy sandals.
Oh, yeah.
And so I tried them on and I was like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
They were comfy. They are comfy.
Yeah, once you go Croc, you never go back. And so I do wear them a lot. And I've become a little bit of a Gen Z person with wearing socks with sandals with my Crocs. And I feel cool. And I also don't care. I'm just like,
you do you.
Just be warned. A warning. Once you wear Crocs, you'll never go back. So, jacuzzi.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
I guess I didn't know that was a brand name.
What's the...
Hot tub.
Oh, hot tub.
steamy bath of jets.
Don't get, oh my God. It's like disgusting Petri dish bath water. Mm-hmm. You cannot pay me to get in a public jacuzzi.
Oh, a public one, yeah.
No, nope.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
Public pools.
It's so, not only the bacteria, but even if they like overshock it, it's so bad for your skin.
I know, it's so gross. All I can think of is like
what happens in there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the good thing is it's harder to pee in hot water. Your body like can't relax enough to pee.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you can pee in cold water easily, or even like lukewarm water you can pee in. But hot water is really hard to pee in.
Interesting. All right, so things we have to look up after this. Hot water peeing. Originally used for Play-Doh.
Your body cannot relax to pee in hot water.
Okay, I'm going to look this up.
Yeah, fact check me on that.
Okay, I will.
Or maybe I've just tried and couldn't do it.
It's all right. There's worse things than pee in hot tubs.
There's worse things.
Like petroleum jelly.
What was the other one that was gross? Something about a fluid. Liquid fluid.
Liquid fluid.
For white out.
But wasn't it something else? White fluid? No. I don't know.
Some kind of creamy fluid. Moving on.
Yes.
Okay, realtor. Technically a trademarked term.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I guess, what is it? Real estate agent?
I guess.
I would never have thought of that one.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have a second list, and this repeats some of the ones that we already went through, but it has some new ones. Dumpster. This is one that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. This was originally a brand name by the Dempster brothers. Didn't know that. Onesie. Which was trademarked by Gerber.
Yeah, I did not know that that was a brand.
And people do refer to any kind of one piece.
Even now, like adult jumpsuits.
I call a onesie.
I'm like, I'm gonna wear my onesie today.
I know. I wore a full jumper, dressy one, and a man referred to it as a onesie. I'm like, babe, like, no,
okay.
No. Thanks so much, but no. And I think that was the end of my list. Yeah. So now we're kind of like, okay, so what does that mean for marketing? Because there's like the psychology of the convenience. Mm-hmm. Like, how did these brands get to the point of like, they got their name to be so like to the top that we now refer to anything that it has been like generic under that, but everything is saran wrap. Every plastic wrap is saran wrap.
Q-tip.
And it's because our brain likes shortcuts, for one. And underneath that, I think, is the level of, like you said, like there's quality behind it.
And I think after thinking of, like, from talking about it yesterday and today, I think a lot of these things were the first of their kind.
That's a good point.
So it was like the innovation and novelty of this new thing. And this is what it's called. Mm-hmm. And then down the line, people are copying it.
Right. But. Yeah. And so one of the things that I looked up was the cognitive efficiency of it. Our brains are constantly looking for shortcuts to conserve energy. For instance, saying Google it is faster and more universally understood than saying to use a search engine, like we talked about. There's also the element of familiarity and trust. When we hear a brand name, often enough, we associate it with quality, reliability, even if we are not consciously loyal to it. So it's like that brand has built it up all the way to this point of like we are familiar with it and we trust it.
That makes perfect sense because I feel like during COVID, there was this whole wave of nostalgic purchases that people were going through, like buying things from their childhood. I don't know if this happened to you, but like I actually bought a children's book that was like one of my favorite kids' books.
Yeah.
And like other things, nostalgic things, like I found myself buying because they were talking about during COVID. It's like you have this craving for the familiar and the comfort of before that, scary time.
Yep.
So I wonder if there's something to do with that as well. It's like it's a brand that is from your childhood that has nostalgic value to you.
Well, even just in general too, like when we're spending money on something, we're taking a risk with something new. Especially, like, is this going to be a waste of my money? Especially, just like grocery prices, and we've got to pick out a brand of, Q-tips, and it's like,
it's outrageous.
Are these gonna be awful? Floss is one that you mentioned before we started filming.
Yes,
so
floss.
And let me tell you something. That was a really good example because I recently bought a pack of floss that I hate. So I use Picks. Mm-hmm. And these ones shred in my teeth. Like, it's like a triple floss lined one. And I thought, that'll be great. No. And what a waste of money. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to use them up because I paid for them.
Right. But they suck.
And they suck. And I'm like, this is a great example of like, we are trying to be intentional with our money. And so if I know like that the brand Saran Wrap is universally known and trusted and it's good, my brain's like, just get the Saran Wrap.
Yeah, one that works.
Not the generic one, because I know it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where in marketing and as a business, that's where you want yourself to be. It's like the trusted brand that works, that can be depended on. Mm-hmm. Yep. So like find that thing and then market.
Yep. So it brought up the question with brand loyalty and brand dominance, does using a brand name generically hurt or help that brand? So the pros of that was, number one, free marketing. The brand is always on the top of the mind. Mm-hmm. And like culturally, being the Kleenex of tissues is the mark of the industry leader. But the cons of it is the dilution of brand identity. For instance, if people say popsicle, but buy a generic brand, the original company sees no benefit. Mm-hmm. And then it's harder to differentiate. So the risk of becoming a commodity instead of a premium product. So this is the instance that we started to talk about before. So like the Xerox and Thermos and Band-Aids. With Xerox, they had a campaign to, and I didn't read much about it, but to try to make people start saying photocopy instead of Xerox, because it was affecting them negatively. So so then there's like this whole legal side of it, the trademarking, because it reaches a point where it's like with trademarking, but we're all saying Kleenex when we mean tissue. If a brand becomes generic, it can lose its legal protection, and it gives the instances of Escalator, aspirin, and cellophane, which were once trademarks. So prevention tactics, brand usage guidelines. Like the Band-Aid TM, ad campaigns reminding the public it's a brand, and then monitoring misuse in media and sending cease and desist letters. So I'm like, it just feels like it gets so muddy.
It can get super muddy. And when you were just talking about Band-Aid, I was thinking of they recently. I don't think it's necessarily a rebrand, but they expanded their brand to have Band-Aids in every skin tone.
Yes.
And I thought, what a genius way to make your brand relevant.
Yep.
And surpass the generic.
Yes.
Because that's something that no one else has done to reinvigorate the brand.
Yep.
And now people are going to be like, they're going to want to buy the Band-Aid brand because it matches their skin tone. I thought that was brilliant.
Oh, wicked. So we were trying to think of this before we started. What are some things that you have to have that are brand names and things that you'll get generic?
So I think I mentioned Windex was one, because fake Windex it doesn't work. that I have to have. I love, there's a particular brand of coffee that I like, the Vermont Coffee Roasters coffee. I don't fool with any other coffee. It's just the best coffee. How about you?
I feel like it's often more of food than products that I feel generally picky about when it comes to brands. So, for instance, I feel like I'm not a brand snob, but there are certain things that I feel like just doesn't compare with generic. So, ketchup and mayonnaise and ranch dressing, I'm like, can't go generic on those things.
Okay.
And then I feel like cereal. I'm not a big cereal person anymore, unfortunately, because I gave up sugar years ago. But when I was a big cereal person, cereal, I feel like generic cereal is not as good.
That's true. When you asked me about cereal, I was like, well, I don't eat cereal. But when I was a kid, I definitely, like, if my mom brought home the generic brand of my favorite cereal, I'd be like, what kind of swill is this?
Yes, exactly.
Like, what are you doing to me? This is torture. Like, this is not Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah.
This is some weird cinnamon rectangle.
Yeah.
You become like loyal to the ones that you like.
Yep. I think you made a good point with saran wrap is like the fake saran wrap was always like it sticks together. It's hard to fuss with.
It's the
like
worst.
Just go with the brand name
It's
of that.
worth the extra money you spend to not fight with it.
With tissues, I do tend to go with a brand's name because I feel like the generic ones are scratchy and hurt.
Yeah, that's true.
Things like
I was thinking of the seltzer water brand that I like. I love Spindrift.
Yep.
Seltzer water.
Yep.
And like no other seltzer water generic can compare. It's just the best seltzer water.
Yep. So it's like a flavor thing.
Yeah,
often.
It's a flavor thing.
It's a flavor thing. It's like higher quality.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of personal care items often, whether it's skincare or like tampons or like any kind of face wash, like I feel like those types of things, they often just need that next step of like quality to them. But most other things, paper towels, I don't care.
I don't care. Yeah.
Like Ziploc bags, I don't care.
No, I don't care. I'll buy the cheap
but things that
ones.
I feel like are quickly disposable, I'm just like, I can quickly dispose of them. So I don't need it to be long-lasting quality.
True.
But when it's something that, or like spices even, don't care as much unless it's a specific something or other. Like,
I will say, so one that just popped into my head is Old Bay.
Okay.
There's no other spice mixture.
Okay.
That is as good as Old Bay.
What about your meat? Like, do you have to get like high quality, like both fresh meat and then also like frozen like chicken nuggets and stuff like that? Like, do they have to be?
I don't.
We're talking about tater tots.
That's true.
Do they have to be Ore-Ida?
No, they don't have to be the brand for me. I don't know. I'm not like as loyal to food brands. I think just as a byproduct of the economy that we're in now, I'm just like, sure. I have to buy whatever the cheaper option is.
Yep.
But I'm trying to think of like where I will not compromise.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely good coffee. Like like cheap coffee is just right out. You can't buy crappy coffee.
Yeah,
it's just not good.
Yeah.
The floss. I gotta have Glide floss.
Yeah,
because it's just the best one.
Yeah, floss is something that I have found.
Let me see.
Things like my shampoo, like I said, personal care items. I just feel like they often can't be generic or low quality. There's this girl I follow on TikTok. Her name's Nina Poole, and her whole thing is she compares ingredients in things, everything from like oftentimes it's it could be makeup, it could be skincare, it could be just anything. She compares brands like high quality stuff to the generic, and she compares the list of ingredients and can show you, instead of paying $25 for this, you can pay like $3 for this.
Yep. I love a good dupe.
And prove to you that it's the same thing. And so go get this one instead. And I love it because it's like,
awesome.
It's not even just like her opinion. It's like, I have the facts that this is what's in this. And it's the marketing of the packaging.
Yep. That's a huge part of marketing, is the packaging, because when things are appealing to the eye, even if it costs more, you're going to get the pretty one versus the uglier one.
It's so true.
It's
and
like,
I'm that way.
It's sad but true.
It works on me.
But yeah, it works on me too. And makeup is the worst for that because like it will literally be the same ingredients, but just in less fancy packaging.
Yeah.
And you're spending like 4 times as much.
And I feel like we psychologically have this feeling of like, well, if we're paying a lot for something, it must be better. It must be very good. If we're paying less for something, it must not be very good. It must be cheap.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because that reminds me, like the saying, you get what you pay for, is not necessarily the case. I think back in the day, that was the case. You know, the more something cost, it meant the better it was and the more durable and the longer lasting. But now that's not necessarily the case. You know, it just depends.
And I think we have a perception of like, we're kind of bred from a young age to feel like certain brands are like, we are sparkly, and we have, you know, car brands, for instance, like this car brand is like, this is luxury.
Yeah.
And if you have
Why
that
is
one,
it luxury?
Why is it luxury? Who said?
I know.
Who said that this brand of purses is luxury and like worth
It's still made in China.
$500? Yeah.
Like,
versus this one that I got at Marshall's. Like it's kind
That's
of
true.
it's all in our heads a little bit. Or like being a teenager, I remember being at the mall and being like, all the cool girls are getting their clothes from the Hollister and Abercrombie, and so therefore it's worth the money to buy a $100 sweatshirt here. But for what?
Yeah.
Because it has this brand name on it. There's nothing actually more valuable about that sweatshirt. It's the perception of the people and how they look at it.
Exactly.
But what is the quality of it? It is all about perception and how people feel about this kind of car, this kind of purse, this kind of sweatshirt, because of what the brand has done to elevate it.
Yep. And I think a smart consumer will do research and put value on something that's not a brand name, but that is high quality.
Yes.
Like, I feel like that's a smarter, savvier consumer.
Yeah.
Is like not so brand focused.
Yeah.
And like, okay, what is the quality of this sweatshirt versus the name that's on the sweatshirt?
Agreed. Yep,
So, and I think, I don't know about you, but I kind of feel like social media marketing has affected that.
Oh, for sure.
Because it used to be like you had to go to the store and choose from whatever brands were available at the store. And now it's like a new entrepreneurial company can just pop up and be on Instagram and show up on your feed. And you're like, wow, what a cool idea. What a neat new product. And it's not any brand you've ever heard of, but you, like, hey, that's a cool product.
Yeah.
And I think it used to be different before social media. It was like you trusted this one brand, and that's what you bought. And to buy something else was like you were taking a risk.
Right. Yep. Isn't it interesting how our brains
like,
just
for
kind of
example, my in-laws, like, they would only buy tires from Sears.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And like we would search the internet before the internet was like super, like back when eBay first started.
Yeah.
And we'd buy tires off eBay or the internet. And my husband's family was like, how do you know it's not a scam? How do you know the brand is good? And I'm like, it's all the same stuff. It's made from the same thing. It just doesn't say Firestone on it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's kind of changed marketing a bit.
It has definitely changed marketing a bit, and how we shop and how we perceive things and how we value things, and it makes in the marketing world how we market for our clients a little different too, strategy wise, I think.
Yep.
But I think bottom line, putting real value on your products is top priority.
And marketing is important. Like your branding and your marketing is important regardless. So like even if you're not a famous brand, the way you market yourself to the public and you brand yourself is extremely important, because that's going to catch the consumer's eye, you know, more than mediocre branding and mediocre marketing. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. But not unfortunately, but like I was talking about this with Aaron the other day, like with this economy, how is that going to affect marketing? Because like companies, their budgets are getting tighter and tighter. And like with marketing, is that going to affect what they're willing to spend on marketing?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or, you know, are we going to see a decline in, you know, ad spend or marketing spend because of the way, you know, tariffs and the marketplace is right?
That feels
right
like a
minute?
whole other conversation. Feels like a conversation Bill would be good for.
That's true. But yeah, so I was just like curious, how is that going to affect marketing spend? But the bottom line is how you market yourself and brand yourself as a business and a product. It's still very vitally important. Yeah. Regardless of what the economy is doing.
Yeah. And it feels like it kind of circles back to something that Deb and I talked about. We're about to run out of time. But Deb and I talked about with influencing and how ultimately people will find out if there's quality behind your product. Yeah. They'll always find out.
You can't fake it.
You can't fake it.
No, you can't.
Yeah. So the proof will be in the pudding, ultimately.
True.
At the end of the day. So
yeah, you got to have a good product to back up the awesome marketing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you. This was so nice.
This was fun. This ended up being a really good topic for us, I think.
I will never say the word push-up again and think of a bra.
I'll never say whiteout again without thinking about gross liquid.
Concealing fluid.
If you guys have any more of these brands that we missed, please drop them in the comments, because this has been fun to think of new ones that we just automatically say.
Trip down memory lane,
too. It has, So give us some new ones. So please come back. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and thank you guys for being here. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
It's the end.
No, it's not. There's more.
There's always more.
Don't be sad. You can catch our full video interviews on our YouTube channel. Come find us.
And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share with your friends so that we're not sad.
And follow us on TikTok.
And Instagram.
It'll make your day happier, promise.
And we'll know if you do it. Until next time.